Welcome to the VET S.O.S podcast. Remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline. We're brought to you by the Who You Know Network and proud members of the Trade Deck community. And we can now be found on Reach Across America Radio on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. You can find Reach Across America Radio on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, and the TuneIn apps. Today, we're sitting down with Christina Etchberger, founder and CEO of It's a Military Life. Definitely looking forward to getting into this conversation. There's so many different things that play into this. And what you're doing with the organization. So can't wait to hear about that story and what you're doing for our community. I think we can almost say that Keith is on a boondoggle at this point, and Eric's graciously filling in for him again. How you doing, Eric?
Brother, I am so well. Thank you for having me back. Again, yeah, I think you're right. I think Keith at this point is ducking you. This might be his soft exit. I don't know. But as far as I'm happy to sit on the board. But buddy, you gotta get yourself some co-hosts, man. Because as you can see here, like I'm the temp. That's me. I'm the temp.
You gotta ease up on that. I think you traumatized him when you fired him live with the mic.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so let's jump right into this. We got Christina Etchberger. She's the founder and CEO of It's a Military Life Corporation. Christina is an educator, military spouse, and mother of two young boys. Her husband is currently a captain in the Army, serving as a commander, which means he has plenty of time on his hands. As
all the time.
Us two former first sergeants fully understand. She started It's a Military Life as a lifestyle blog and has grown it into a nonprofit organization with 3 different programs. How you doing today, Christina?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so happy to have you here. How did this whole thing come about? Obviously you're a military spouse. You're still very much active in the military community. But what led you to want to start this blog and then eventually this company?
Yeah, so it really stemmed from having conversations with others, whether it be family, friends, fellow military spouses, and just trying to get a feel for what the overall climate is for military spouses. And at the time, back in June of 2020, my husband was deployed. And this time, it was the second time, with 2 little ones opposed to just the one 5-month-old. And so it really was a change of mindset. So for me, it went from, oh my gosh, he's gone. I have a little one. I'm not by my family. What do I do? To, okay, what can I do? What can I do? Not just for myself, not just for my 2 little ones, but for the military community overall. So I had a great conversation with both my aunts and one who's a former police officer. And we were just talking and I said, you know what? I really need to take your advice and be a change agent. And with that, I just decided, you know what? My voice does matter. So let's start writing. My background is education. So that is something that I love to do, is share and write. And then I started to notice that once I started introducing some of my ideas, such as Veteran Pen Pal Project, where it was simply just to connect with veterans that were in the veteran centers during COVID, and making sure that because I wasn't able to volunteer in person, that I had that opportunity to write back and forth with them and get others to as well. Locally, I was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I decided, you know what, I'm noticing there's a trend here. It's not just writing, it's also serving in different capacities. So that's where it grew from me writing, me sharing my voice, to having the opportunity to give other people platforms to grow and learn as military spouses through our various programs, such as Veteran Pen Pal Project. Then it turned into also including It's Military Child Life, where we focus on authors that are military spouses and veterans, really giving them that platform, as well as It's Military Connection, where we have a cohort for military spouses, but also transitioning veterans. So it was just a really great rippling effect where it wasn't just about the military spouse, it was about the transitioning veteran and then the family as a whole. Because you might be privy to this, there's definitely a lot of miscommunication that occurs within the military, not just the community, but the family. So I'm like, you know what? Why not have us all work together, whether it be with our passions, with our education, but just us as a whole. So it really did become such a great community, but then an official 501c3.
Isn't it fun to watch something like that grow?
Yes.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it was incredible because being an educator with my background, it's not just about me, it's about those that I'm working with and interacting with, and to see not only myself grow, but then those that I was involved with. We also developed a professional volunteer program where our professional volunteers, they learn how to strategically volunteer through our organization and beyond. So to see them really see their purpose, not only as a spouse or transitioning veteran, but also as just an individual. It was so cool to see them see their value.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So tell us, you've got these programs, right?
Yes.
Individual programs doing kind of some unique and special things. How do those three programs merge? How do they come together to support its military life's cause?
Yeah, of course. So what we're really wanting to do, our overall vision, is to see those military spouses and transitioning veterans in the workforce and beyond thrive. So how can we do that is by giving them different opportunities within the organization based on their interests, based on just their overall passions. So with that, we have our strategic volunteers or professional volunteers who come on or in the organization, and they give whatever they can based on maybe their background, their interests to our various programs. So our first program, Veteran Pen Pal Project, focuses on our veterans through the match program. So that's letter writing, making sure we connect to our veterans across the board, whether it be service members that are deployed, veterans in veteran homes. Also, we've connected with veterans in hospice care through Veteran Last Patrol. So in that area, we're looking at our ambassadors. We're looking at veterans that can not only be role models, but also can really make sure that veterans, whether they're young or old, whatever generation, they know they matter. And then we have our It's Military Child Life, where we empower military spouse and veteran authors. So you can see there's that dynamic of, seeing our families taken care of, but then also the main part is empowering those that are providing those services, providing those books. And then lastly, it's Military Connection. That's where we provide cohorts, workshops. So again, empowering those military spouses and transitioning veterans through education and career opportunities. So all in all, those three programs are providing those different areas that they could be interested in and get their hands really involved in regards to our organization, that could either better themselves with their resume, can better themselves when they're interviewing, or can just better themselves overall as an individual. So there's so many opportunities here or at our organization just to really support the overall community.
I don't know if we have to yet or not, but I'm sure we're getting close to that point where we might have to explain what letter writing is to some of the younger members of the audience.
That's a fair point. It's a really good point.
Yes, no, and that's really what we saw when I began this in June of 2020, and it was just a really fun conversation I had with a veteran center, and one of the actual veterans at the facility in Lawton, Oklahoma said, "What do you think about having pen pals?" And it came from an actual veteran, and that's how that all started. And within our program, so we have Veteran Pen Pal Project, It's Military Child Life. We have Generations United, where even my local school here in Florida, they wrote letters. The kids did, so elementary, to our veterans in hospice care with these little postcards, and it was a lesson. to try to teach them, what is a postcard? Where do you put the address? All that good stuff.
What is a stamp?
Yeah, what is a stamp? Yes. But it just keeps, I guess, us cultured. It keeps us united in different ways, in more meaningful ways. So definitely one of our taglines is bringing snail mail back. So it's really
single-handedly going to save the post office.
Yeah. Maybe they'll sponsor us one day.
There you go. There you go. So I would love to know, like, what kind of feedback and what kind of results are you seeing with these different programs? Because the impact's got to be huge. I know that there was a local nonprofit here that I volunteered with, and we received a package of like handwritten notes, but also like drawings from a church school, from elementary school age kids. And it was kind of neat to see the response of the veterans as they got passed around and things like that. So I'm just curious, like, what kind of feedback are you receiving as far as your programs are concerned?
Yeah, so I would say overall, just the backbone of our organization are our professional volunteers. That has been an incredible journey. So going from being at home with my little ones to, leaving my family we're from Chicago. So imagine Chicago to Oklahoma, completely different. And, I had my wonderful job there teaching, and then just trying to figure myself out, to then leading a group of military spouses and transitioning veterans that I can see are getting empowered, are really getting their voices back, in a way back, because when you begin the military journey, you don't really know what you're getting into, whether you're a transitioning veteran, you're a service member, or a military spouse. There's so much amazing opportunities within the military, but there's bits and pieces that are unknown until it hits you in the face, right? So that has been extraordinary. Just like I said, the backbone of our organization, watching the veterans and the military spouses along their professional journey and seeing them within the organization create and then grow each of the programs has been phenomenal. One of our program managers who's been with us the longest, Lourdes Gonzalez of It's Military Child Life, she went from being a part of It's Military Child Life, trying to figure out, what is this program? How can we reach our military families and really feature these wonderful authors, to getting her master's in library science, being a part of a library and enriching the lives of those that she's a part of right now. And then also connecting with so many authors within the military community and getting those books on the basis, because a lot of times these books are either not well known, maybe they, just haven't had enough time being featured. But then you go into these local libraries and there's resources for kids about PCSing and deployment that are back from, 2005. And I know that doesn't probably seem long enough, long time for us, because I'm like, 2005. Oh yeah, that was so recent. It's almost 20 years ago. So it's so incredible, just even within that one story of Lourdes Gonzalez, program manager, and her journey with It's Military Life within has been incredible. So I would say the impact with our professional volunteers, seeing them grow those 3 programs, and then seeing the impact when we help Veteran Last Patrol. We've been doing this since 2020, having them go from a goal of 10,000 cards to veterans in hospice care for the holiday season to now over 100,000 cards. And then It's Military Connections, seeing people, get the jobs that they're desiring, getting those certifications. It's Military Child Life, having books in my children's rooms that are written by military spouses and veterans, as well as in the schools. That's the big impact, whether it be small, big, just having an impact on, a few just to start, and then seeing it grow has been incredible.
We've had Veterans Last Patrol on it. What a phenomenal organization. And the fact that you guys are directly supporting them and their mission is just wonderful to hear. And I'm curious, When all this started, because you are obviously very, very proud of the impact this is having on your volunteers, which is great to see. Because they're giving their time and their efforts to help, make an impact. And your pride in how well they're doing and what they're growing into is just phenomenal. You know, was that even on your radar when all this started? I mean, or was this just a great, bonus that happened with this whole process?
That's a really great question because for me, one of my other parts of my background is I was a middle school science teacher. And so with that, it's very hands-on, facilitate, not just direct instruction. So for me, it was kind of a fun, I guess, bonus for sure, where I'm like, oh, okay, all these people are helping out, trying to help us create these programs, develop them, really have these deliverables. And then seeing it be more of a lesson within the organization, seeing that there was a bigger impact than I even expected, that it was definitely a surprise. And that's where it went from a community to a nonprofit. When one of my volunteers actually said, Kira Seeley, she works with hiring our heroes. She said, hey, have you ever thought about this being a nonprofit? Because what we see is it's constantly about outreach, giving back. I'm like, my background is education. I'm always willing to learn more and learn from others. So let me, do some research. And I connected with other nonprofits. I've been through Service to CEO with the Rosie Network. I was inspired by AMC for Association of Military Spouse Entrepreneurs. And I thought, hey, no, I can do this. I can make this happen. But it wasn't just because of myself. It was those that I talked with, that I interacted with, and especially my volunteers.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Eric, you can speak to the how crucial volunteers are to growing a 501.
Yeah. So it's funny too, because, and Christina, I'm not sure if you've had this experience, but one thing that I talk about with my volunteers is, and the first thing I talk about when we teach is no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
Right? Because volunteers give everything, right? And if you let them, they'll give everything.
Yes.
That's awesome. So how does somebody get involved? How do we do that?
Yeah, of course. So we really take our volunteer experience seriously. So how we've done this in the past is we post our volunteer opportunities on LinkedIn through It's Military Life, as well as on the website. So if you go on itsmilitarylife.org, how to get involved, you can see our wonderful volunteer team, but then you can also see how to apply through our organization. So you can either be a part of our volunteer team or ambassadors. Our ambassadors are amazing people, whether it be civilians, military spouses, veterans, that support our veteran pen pal project. So really boots on the ground, recruiting veterans at centers, legions, making sure that, whether they're veterans at home or veterans that are around the world, that they get those letters, they get matched. They get letters, maybe it's on their birthday or the holidays. You can be a volunteer or ambassador, and we are always looking for sponsors. So that is definitely key because, as you probably all know, postage is very expensive. I know I talked about this with Veteran Last Patrol. So sponsorship, volunteering, ambassadorship, we would love to hear from everybody.
I love it. As someone like Sean said, who understands the 501c3 world, right? Sometimes, and you may not have experienced this, I might be the only one that's ever experienced this, but sometimes we get so far down the road, right? And so many things are moving. This is kind of an off the wall question, but I'm curious for you, what is there an anchor point memory from the beginning that you go back to get water, to get fed, to keep pushing forward? I know for me, I have like that anchor point memory, that first real success thing, what's that anchor point memory for you?
I would have to say when I applied what my aunt said, my Aunt Susie, about being a change agent and me mentally switching from waiting to actually doing.
Yeah.
That was huge for me, where I was talking to, her, my veteran friend who was our VP back a year or so ago, who's a fellow educator, and telling him, saying, hey, you know what? I know I can do this. Telling me, I know I can do this, and doing it. That was so huge for me. And then seeing that it was impacting, whether it be one person, two people, that would be really where it was, the big moment for me, where
Right.
I can do it, and then I can help others do it as well.
I love that. And I love that, especially for the mill spouses, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes our mill spouses, I think it's understated. You as a mill spouse, a lot of times you watch the career happen around you.
Yes.
Right. You kind of watch things happen as well. I guess we're moving, and I guess he's leaving, or she's leaving, and I get like, I'm letting the military happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Right. But I love that you have you stepped out, you saw a need, and that's how a lot of organizations start. Right. They identify a need, and there isn't a fix, so let's go make the fix. Right.
Yes.
So in my humble opinion, you are what epitomizes an incredible military spouse who shows her own set of Army values, right? Who knows how to step out and say, I see the thing that needs to be fixed. I see the challenge, and we're going to meet it head on. So kudos to you, and to all of your volunteers. I'm humbled to know you. But I love what you guys are doing. What else do we need to know about It's a Military Life? What do we need to know? What do the listeners have to grasp before the episode ends?
Yes, I would say really, the big thing is we want to be boots on the ground. So we have that virtual component because of the need back in 2020 when we began. During the pandemic, all the things that were going on at that time. So whether it be as a volunteer or an ambassador, if you want to be a part of our organization, there's so many opportunities, whether it be virtual, hybrid, boots on the ground, like I said. So whatever works for you as someone that wants to get involved, we will make it happen. And we will make it happen in regards to your interests, your professional goals. And we always love to connect with other organizations, businesses, groups. That's the big part of it. It's not just working as one organization, but as a community.
Absolutely love that. That's fantastic. So, are there any big plans for the future here? Like, is there something new you guys might be working on? So, is there a fourth program in operation? I mean, what's the future look like here in the next couple of years?
Yes, so we really have done such a great job developing our volunteer program. So that's been very successful. So with It's Military Child Life, for example, really growing our Generations United, as well as our library catalog. That's huge. Making sure that authors know that we want to put them on that catalog. We want to be distributing those books within our bases. So that's a big push. It's Military Connection. We're really trying to get more volunteers a part of that program to help lead our cohorts, workshops, guest speakers. So we're always looking for that. So that's very important. And for Veteran Pen Pal Project, we're relaunching, making sure we are as successful as possible with our match program. So really getting more veterans involved within our match program, and it's also open to spouses. So really, I would say just continuing our growth, especially as we are in, January timeframe, just seeing that growth, connecting with others, whether it be speakers, sponsors, and volunteers.
That's fantastic. And whether he agrees or not, I would say you have two people that love to talk to people, so you have potential guest speakers sitting here with you right now if you ever.
I just wrote it
down. Well, I definitely have thought about that. So, and I know Eric, you and I have talked. So that is a for sure thing I will be inquiring about.
I love it. I love it.
Outstanding.
I don't know how we did this, but we're already coming up on the end of time. This has been one of those conversations I think that just kind of flows, and I love that. Christina, thank you for making our jobs easy, because we didn't have to drag you along an interview, and that was fantastic. I love talking to professional communicators. I think that's fun. So thank you so much for taking the time. It's been an honor. As we get ready to close this thing up, I want to make sure this is about the listener, right? This is about how does the listener get involved? How does the listener know more about its military life? So what is the best way for someone watching to go, you know what, I want to get in the ring. How do I get in contact?
Yeah, so I would say, as you can see scrolling, the LinkedIn directly to me. I love connecting with people. So feel free to directly follow me, message me. I think that's always the first best next step. And then go from there. We do have itsmilitarylife.org. You can see all of our information about our programs. But if you really want to just, get to know me, get to know the organization, just directly message me. I love to hear from you and figure out how we can connect.
I love that people can get direct access. I'm a big fan of people who run great organizations, but still allow themselves to be an access point.
Yes.
And who haven't removed themselves. So yeah, we love that. Okay. Well, I don't know, Sean. I guess I get to say it again, don't I?
Yep.
All right. Well, here we go.
At least one more time.
Christina, thank you so much for being here. We're honored and we're grateful that you took the time out of your day. Listen, everyone, on behalf of the VET S.O.S family, we want to thank you for tuning in and joining us today. Make sure that you follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. And then remember, please don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab that VET S.O.S lifeline.